Hi, now let's talk about activity B, predicting trends. So first step is to get your Gizmo ready. Compare latitudes and snowfall on the controls tab. So here we go. Now we want it back up here at latitude and snowfall. And this is the one we're going to start with. Now it says turn on show least squares fit line, and it gives you the equation. So we're going to turn it on so we can see the trend line here. And it says suppose you know, what do the X and Y represent? So again, to find out what X and Y represent, you're looking at the way the graph is labeled. So your X is your horizontal, your Y is your vertical. Says, suppose you know the location of the United States city in degrees north latitude. How can you use this equation to predict the average annual snowfall in the city? So what that's saying, suppose you know the location in the United States of a city. I think we're somewhere around 36 degrees. So how can we use this equation up here? If I know that we're at 36 degrees north, how could I find out our average snowfall? So you'll answer that. C, Columbia, South Carolina is located at 34 degrees north latitude. Use the equation to estimate the average annual snowfall for Columbia. Show your work in the space to the right. Turn on show probe and show calculation to check your work. Now, I'm going to give you some actual work here. So if the equation is y equals 2.41x minus 6766, you have to think about, did they tell you the X or the Y when they told you that it's at 34 degrees north latitude? So you have to come back up here to what your X and Y represented. X is the horizontal, so it is the degrees north. So when they tell us that Columbia is at 34, that means we are going to plug in 34 in for X. Okay, and then you're going to use the order of operations to solve. So you're going to multiply first, so you'll take 2.41 times 34, and then subtract 67.66, and then that will give you your answer. I'm going to delete that so it's not there when you start working on this. And then what you're going to do is once you find that answer, you're going to go to show probe, and we're going to check on when X was 34, which is right there. You can tell what I'm looking over here at the X column. So when X is 34, what's Y? So you're going to answer that to see if you got the same answer. I do expect to see your work here. What is the estimated average fall for a city at the equator, which is 0? And so if you were to plug in 0 here, how much snow would you expect to get? Is that a reasonable estimate? So depending on what you put, does it make sense that what you got here would be how much snow the equator gets? And then explain why you think so down here. On the control tabs, select compare latitude and temperature and show least square fit line, and then you want to turn off the probe. So we're going to latitude and temperature, but we don't want the probe, but we want the least squares fit line, the trend line. So now it says Honolulu, Hawaii is at 21 degrees north. Use the equation in Gizmo to estimate the average annual temperature of Honolulu. Okay, well, we know that Honolulu is at 21. And so we are going to use this equation here, and this time we're going to plug in 21 for X to get your Y. I'm not going to type it out this time. You can try it yourself. And then when you're done, you'll click Show Probe to check your work. And then let's try another one. If Mobile, Alabama is located at 31 degrees north latitude, would you expect the average annual temperature for Mobile to be greater than or less than Honolulu? So you can, based on what you got with Honolulu, you'll do it for Alabama, or you'll make estimates for Alabama. What's the equation's estimate for the average temperature in Mobile? So you will use the information given for that, And then how much cooler is that than the average temperature in Honolulu? So you have to do some subtraction and then explain why based on the equation. And then you are all finished with this gizmo. So get it turned in and then move on to your next steps.